Hi, ladies. I just wanted to give you some tips and some knowledge about the Mrs. America system. If you're thinking about competing in this system, it's the longest and oldest standing Mrs. system in the country. It's a very prestigious title. The crown is elegant. The pageant is traditional and classic. And by that, I mean that you're going to be competing in swimsuit, evening gown, interview, and having a final question. So there's nothing crazy. There's nothing contemporary about it in terms of doing fun fashion. There are other pageants who do have a fun fashion competition for the misses. But I'd say this is like one of the more prestigious systems you could possibly enter for the misses systems. I competed in it back in 2008. And here is my banner. We got ours all stoned from the previous title holder. And it's a very high quality sash that you won't find in a lot of other systems. Okay, now back to what I wanted to talk about was I've coached 6 Mrs. Minnesotas, 3 Mrs. Wisconsins, 2 Mrs. Iowas, Mrs. Mississippi, and Washington, many, many other states as well. But there's a formula for the Mrs. America system. The real key is you have to look the part because this is not a point system. So you're not going to get points and then by the end of the pageant, whoever has the most points wins. It's one of those systems where they rank you from, the winner to down to 5, and they choose their top 5 in every category. So it's a little bit different in the ranking of the system itself. For this system in particular, I highly recommend that you research your state about the previous title holders because every state has a little bit of a different judging panel every year. I know that there is a formula throughout the country, but I always do research when I'm coaching my clients, no matter what state they're in, to make sure that we are in line with the values of that state. So California, for example, might be a little bit more less traditional in the outfits that you can choose versus, say, Wisconsin or Minnesota. So every state and every region has a little bit of a different vibe to it. But overall, at the national pageant, there is a winning formula to, I think every system has kind of a look and a way to compete. This is not a showy pageant, so it's not one where you want to be trying to be sexy. That is not what this system is about at all. It's much more about being classy and age appropriate and representing all women in your state or across the country when you're competing with them. I would love to help you to win your state. Most of my clients have actually never competed before in this system or at all and have won their state the first time out. I've had many first runner-ups. So that can happen too when it's your very first time because you're still building your confidence. I'm always working with the raw material of you, and then I'm helping you to be your best in every single category when you're competing. So this is a system that is not like Mrs. International. That's a separate beast. Mrs. United States is a separate beast. Mrs. Earth is a separate beast. They all have their own identity, and they all have different ways of competing and different stage patterns. So highly recommend that you get direction and not try to do it on your own, particularly if you're a blonde. Nowadays in the Mrs. systems, if you're blonde, it is not that easy to win. You have to have a lot of substance to you, and that means training. You can't just walk out and feel like you're the fairest in the land and that you'll just be picked, because I've seen many, 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 many beautiful women, gorgeous women, particularly blondes, who just can't make it over the hump because they don't recognize what their body language or their look or their wardrobe choices, what kind of messages those things are sending out, because everything that we do is communicating. So that's why it's really crucial to get that added help. And at the end of the day, even though you might say, it's kind of expensive, I don't have money for a coach, I have seen more women spend tons of money recompeting and getting new wardrobe every year when they could have just come out their strongest the first year to win. So at the end of the day, if you're really serious about winning, there's no other way around it. You need to get assistance. And that's just my 5 cents. because when I first did this system in 2007, I did not win. I did not have a coach. I had no direction at all. The gown shop told me to get a certain gown. It was a taffeta Sherry Hill with stones that was coral. I don't think I've ever seen a Mrs. win in coral. It was a very bad choice, but obviously she wanted to sell the gown, right? Don't always trust the gown shops because they're not always going to steer you in the right direction. Anyway, I hope that helped, and I'm looking forward to answering any questions that you have below. Subscribe to my channel and go ahead and share it with your friends, because I'm going to be continuing to give you tips and tricks on how to win your next pageant. You can also join me on Facebook at The Winner's Way. I have a special private group there where I give tips and tricks to all of the girls following me there. So I hope to see you soon. Bye, everybody.